Hello, everybody. It's Bob Ryder for NWATNA. You're listening to the interactive interview with James Walsh and Dan Edler.
The following announcement has been paid for by the Wrestling Epicenter.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, guys.
Hello, ladies. Remember me? Let me talk to you, dummies.
It's now time.
It's theater time. TikTok.
It's showtime!
For the longest running wrestling talk show in history.
We are huge. It's gonna be cool.
You're where it's at.
You smell like me.
Tune in each and every week.
And you better keep listening, or I'll come out of your computer
And turn it on for you.
or else I'm gonna kick your stinking teeth in.
We've been known by a few names.
The needs of the many far outweigh the needs of the few.
The interactive interview.
Interactive interview. Oh, yeah.
Interactive interview.
The interactive interview.
Interactive interview.
The interactive interview.
Interactive wrestling radio.
Interactive wrestling radio.
Interactive Wrestling Radio.
Interactive radio.
Interactive Wrestling Radio.
Interactive wrestling radio.
The Blaze.
Blaze 1260 AM. The Blaze.
The Blaze.
Blaze. The Blaze Rock.
And a lot of other names.
Weekend Warrior of Wrestling.
The Pile Driver.
The Epa Wrestling Center.
3 Count Wrestling.
The Hours Lab.
But it's all one show. The Wrestling Epicenter.
Wrestling Epicenter. The Wrestling Epicenter.
The Epicenter.
Wrestling Epicenter, dude. The Wrestling Epicenter. Don't get off.
And your host from day one,
By ignorance or arrogance.
James Walsh.
Wake up, sleepyheads.
Dr. Carol House.
It all starts
What a rush. Oh! Boomer Sooner.
Thank you very much.
I got 2 words for you. Thumbs down. Breaking necks and cashing checks. I've heard a lot about you guys.
Check it out. Get out of my face. You win!
But I'm desperately out of time!
So what you gonna do when Blaze Mania runs wild on you?
now.
Interactive Wrestling Radio. Joining me on the Newsmaker line right now is one of Ring of Honor's newest signings, signed just before the pandemic, as a matter of fact. He is the Metalhead Maniac Sledge. Are you with me, sir?
I am. I'm right here with you all the way, brother.
All right. It's such a pleasure to have you on. I got to ask you, it's usually when I ask guys that have been signed to a contract for 6 months or so, they have, more stuff to show because of you're in a weird spot because of the pandemic. So, I guess my first question is, what did it feel like to sign that Ring of Honor contract?
It was great, man. I went to Ring of Honor. I went to the dojo on a non-guarantee, more of kind of like a handshake, I guess would be the best way to put it. Was I went and did a tryout, and they were like, well, we're inviting you to the dojo to learn our system, and we'll put you on like the ring trucks, and we'll get you, some money in your pocket, but just kind of, we'll see how it goes. And, sometimes when an opportunity knocks, you have to go through it. And finally, about 6 months into training, they signed me, and it was great, man. Like, you work so hard for something, and then you expect, once you sign that dotted line, like you expect like fireworks and explosions, and yes, I finally made it. But then you realize that, hey, man, your hard work just started, and now you have to make them realize, and now you have to give them a reason to keep you under contract and work harder. And now you got big dogs that you gotta come after, and it's it was like, okay, work's got to start, So
Absolutely,
and a long story short,
absolutely, and we've been in the same building at the same time. I'm in Mesa, Arizona, and I've seen you walk right past me as we were at the Nile Theater in Mesa, Arizona, for Championship Wrestling from Arizona. So it's got to be a long road going from there to Baltimore.
That was that was a while ago. I wasn't even scheduled to be on that show. I was in town for something, and I just kind of just stopped by just to see Peter Avalon, honestly, just to kind of say what's up. And then they were like, "Hey, man, you got your gear?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So yeah, man, awesome. That's really cool. So.
Awesome. So I promise you we're not going to talk just about this pandemic situation, because I think the whole world is tired of it. But was signing the contract right before the pandemic hit, was that a blessing in disguise in a way, that to get under a contract where so many wrestlers that are just independent right now are suffering because there's just nowhere to work?
Yes, 100% a blessing. Sinclair and Ring of Honor has taken care of us like just has completely taken care of us, financially wise, and just made sure that we were all taken care of during this whole thing and made sure we were close to our families. When this thing hit, we were all in Vegas and they switched people's flights around really quick so they're safe and they were with their homes. So I honestly, I say it all the time. I say it on my social media that I can't work for a better company like Ring of Honor.
Awesome.
Like Sinclair, because they completely just take care of us 100%. And yes, it was a blessing, but it was a blessing all the way around. It's really bad to say, but this whole COVID thing has been a blessing for me through this whole thing. And I guess we'll get to that in a minute. So
sure. How so though? How do you? Well, let's tackle that now. How so? How has it been a blessing for you?
Let's tackle it now. Well, I'm a recovering addict. And when I went to the Ring of Honor dojo, I left everything behind on an opportunity. So I binged eat a lot. So like I got rid of the alcohol and the drugs, but then I depress eat. So I was very depressed over there. Now don't get me wrong, like I made good friends and I had great training, but I just wasn't me. So when this pandemic hit, they sent me home. They sent me back to California because I had two places. I had my California place and my Baltimore place. And that was when I was able to really hone in my diet and get everything that I needed to get emotionally, physically, where I feel like I needed to be ready to be on TV.
Right.
So it was a restart button for me.
Awesome.
And it's been great, being home. Now I don't have to live in Baltimore anymore. I'm allowed to, they're flying me now, which is great. And, they're like, we like what you're doing at home, so stay home. And I'm like, well, I feel better mentally at home instead of away from, my support system. So
awesome. And I've seen the pictures you've been posting on social media, and you're looking bigger and badder than ever.
I'm ready to rock and roll whenever that my dog's deciding to chirp in as well. Whenever the time comes, I'm ready to rock and roll.
Awesome. So your metalhead maniac persona, it really speaks to me because it seems like these two things. I'm a big metal fan. In fact, I used to, in addition to the wrestling epicenter, I used to run the metal epicenter. So it kind of all goes hand in hand that these heavy metal guys like you and I seem to gravitate towards professional wrestling. What's the link? Where's the link?
Where's the what?
Where's the link between professional wrestling and heavy metal that it seems to attract both fan bases?
Well, just listen to a lot of the entrance music that a lot of the bigger names have. They're all metal, so you're naturally going to gravitate towards there. And I always I grew up on metal. My sister is who got me into the metal music. I actually listened to rap back in the day. My sister's the one who got me into metal music, and I also started playing drums in a band and touring that way. So metal just, I don't know, man, there's something about it that just drives people. That just, you get that heavy, drop D chugging and that double bass going, and there's just something that just fuels you and just pumps you. And that's all I listen to in the gym is that and like motivational stuff. So
awesome.
I think metal music and wrestling just go hand in hand. I mean, there's no way around it. You listen to it and it's just, now I'm getting pumped just to thinking about it right now.
Awesome.
My entrance music, man, is by a Las Vegas band.
That's what I was just about to ask you about. I heard you talk about this a little bit
yeah.
online about your interest music and that you wanted to say and what it would be. And I had just interviewed Silas Young a few months ago, and he's like, well, I chose a song that they had, under contract, and I liked it. It was okay, so I used that. Yours seems to be more finely tuned to your interests.
Yeah, so I talked to the office, and I was like, man, like I really want to write my own entrance music and have my own, like just a feel of myself. And they loved it. They're like, well, that means we don't have to pick something generic for you. And I was like, sweet. So I got with my buddy Wes, who is the lead singer of a band called Death in Motion, DIM. And they got like this Kill Switch Engage sound that's real metal and they wrote me a excellent, entrance theme that will be debuted very, very soon. And we'll be putting it on iTunes and Spotify, and they're putting on their upcoming album. And it was something that was written personally for me about demons and overcoming adversity. And it's a really, really cool tune. It's a really, really cool tune.
Oh, man, I can't wait to hear it now. That's awesome. Thank you for letting me know. What is some of your other favorite wrestling theme songs? Like when you think about the best wrestling theme songs through the years, what one do you think, yeah, you know what, that guy, that's the perfect theme for that guy?
Oh, geez. Well, you got Triple H with Motorhead.
Oh, yeah.
That's just, the game, and well, what else? I really enjoyed the Kill Switch Engage entrance music for CM Punk when he first came into WWE.
Right.
I really enjoyed that. Baron Corbin, his entrance theme with, Bad Wolves is amazing. Rhea Ripley, new entrance theme is freaking amazing. And she works with Ashley Core, some from New Year's Day. I don't remember her last name, but from New Year's Day. I mean, Silas Young's entrance music. I really love Silas' entrance music too. I know he said it was like generic, but like it's awesome. So Matt Taven, entrance theme. Vinny's is scary as shit. I think Brody King's entrance theme is actually his band, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me on that. But his entrance theme's really good.
Awesome.
Man, there's so many entrance themes that are just real bangers, and you just kind of put on. You're just like, you don't even have to like listen to them coming out. You can just put it on like Spotify, and you're just like, yeah, that's awesome. Like the WWF, what is it, the Aggression album?
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Like
Yeah.
that was awesome.
Awesome. All right. So we've had Greg the Hammer Valentine. In fact, there was a Metal Maniac back in the day. Goldberg uses the jackhammer. Where did Sledge come from? Where did you get the idea to use the name Sledge as your ring name?
They called me the Hammer when I played drums in a band. And because I'd hit the skin so freaking hard, they called me the Hammer. And I just took Hammer and turned it into Sledge, and it went. And there it went. I couldn't be the Hammer, because obviously Hammer Valentine and,
Yep.
Hammerstone as well.
Hammerstone, good point,
so
yeah.
It's just like, Hammerstone, so it's just been like Sledge sounds a little, and it was no one had it.
No.
Which I was really shocked about. Like no one had it. You would think that Sledge is a pretty wrestler name.
Yeah.
And no one had it.
That's
there's a few guys that worked in the indies like in the 90s that had it, but wasn't anything like Sledge with Ring of Honor or anything like that. So like when you hear Sledge, you automatically think of me, not like when somebody from the Yard. So
that's awesome. All right. So a few years ago, it's been a few years actually now, you were a part of the Steve Austin podcast, and that really kind of opened up your availability to people. People really found out more about you from that podcast. How did that come to be, and what is your relationship with Stone Cold these days?
I just talked to Steve actually a couple months ago. Just shot him a text him back and forth. I don't know what came about the text. We were just I don't remember. We just started texting. I was in Arizona actually. I was driving with AJ Kirsch to a show, and AJ was scheduled for the Steve Austin podcast on that Sunday, which he totally kayfabed me on. Didn't even tell me about it. Was told me that you have to drop me off at a Starbucks or something while he did this, and I'm thinking he had this actor's audition or something like that because he's an actor. And Steve Austin calls him on our way to Arizona, and he goes, "What time you coming over, kid?" And AJ asked if I could tag along, and Steve said absolutely. Yeah, he originally told me to kiss his ass first, but then he was like, "Yeah, man, bring him on." And we met, and it's funny because I have 2 dogs now, but I have a deathly fear of dogs. A deathly fear of dogs. I know that sounds weird when I have 2 dogs, but I deathly fear dogs. And going into Steve Austin's house, he has 2 dogs, and they were jumping on me, and I'm trying not to freak out because Steve Austin's in front of me, but their dogs are jumping on me. I'm holding my composure. I'm holding it. And then he invites us into his house, and we're sitting there, and I'm talking with his wife, and his dog comes and lays his head on my lap, and he goes, "Man, I've never seen, I think it was Callie. Callie's never done that with anybody." I was like, "I don't know, man." So I'm just sitting there petting the dog, and we go over and do the podcast. And during like a break of the podcast, we started talking about metal music, and then we started talking about he asked me, what's your story? And I told him that I'm a recovering addict, and I'm just recently trying to get out back in the wrestling scene. And he goes, "Can I podcast you?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, let's do it." And he did the podcast, and then my Twitter and my Instagram and my email started blowing up, and off to the races we went. So
absolutely. And another podcast you did was the Bouncers podcast, and that was kind of your "Hi, I'm here" introduction to Ring of Honor fans, and it didn't seem to go that well. It seemed to end a little abruptly. I think, the reason why I wasn't going to ask you about, being an addict and your past problems, because I got the feeling that when they started talking about beer, that was why you ended the conversation.
Not at all.
Oh, okay.
Not at all. I mean, what they do in their extracurricular activities is up to them. The Bouncers are they're the largest human beings in Ring of Honor, I would say, and man, they can drink some beer. I've seen it firsthand. But what really made us end that podcast was talking about nutrition. I'm huge into nutrition. Mm-hmm. And they asked me, what else do you drink? And honestly, I mean, in front of me right now, talking to you, I got a big gallon of water. I drink water and coffee.
There you go.
And and I mixed, when you're mixing your pre-workout or your amino acids, you're drinking water. And when I talked to them, tried to talk to them a little bit about nutrition, the conversation went south real quick, and kind of got a little heated with them.
Yeah.
So I was like, I gotta go. I don't have time for this. I don't have time to educate you guys on nutrition. You guys should, we're athletes. We should know nutrition. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So when we first talked about doing this interview, it was quite a few months ago, in fact. And Mark Crisco, our good friend over at Ring of Honor, kind of described you as our new big guy. And I kind of wanted to talk to you about that. You're their new big guy in a company and frankly, a business that is trended down. It's trended towards a smaller guy kind of company, kind of smaller guy industry, in fact. What's your thoughts on wrestling going more towards the smaller, more acrobatic guys versus the big guys like yourself?
It just takes one punch. They can be as acrobatic as they want. They get flippy, and it just takes one. Just takes one punch. One clothesline. Just me getting my hands on you. You're not flipping anymore. That's the bottom line on that.
Awesome.
And is it really Ring of Honor is known for being a little bit more for the smaller individuals, but have you seen our roster lately?
Yeah, it's kind of trending the other way again.
We got some big boys on there. I mean, Brody King, he's 6'5", 300 pounds. We got Shane Taylor, 6'2", 300 and something pounds. We got Vinny and Taven. Those aren't small guys either. Those guys are fairly larger human beings. Tyler Bateman, 6 foot. Tyler 6'4". I think 6'3", 6'4". Those guys, I just fit right in there with them. We used to have guys like Cobb, and we have been trending for possibly being for the smaller guys, yes, but we have a lot of big killers on the roster. I mean, our world heavyweight champion, Roosh.
Yep.
He's not a small individual.
He's a beefy dude. He's
6'2", 6'3", 225, 230 pounds.
There you go.
You know, I fit right in the mix with all those guys. And like I said, once we get our hands on you, it's over. But when I get in the ring with bigger guys like that, man, expect a slugfest. Expect us just to beat the living but Jesus out of each other.
All right.
You know, and it's, you know, it's sweat's gonna fly, blood's gonna fly. It's just what's gonna happen, and I'm looking forward to it. Like, I'm chomping at the bit. I literally am chomping at the bit.
Awesome. Well, Ring of Honor got back to doing television with the Pure Tournament, and week by week, it's just getting better.
How good was that?
That was awesome.
How good was that Pure Tournament?
Pure.
Those guys were killers. Absolutely killers.
Sports-based wrestling. I love it.
Go figure.
Exactly right.
Something that was advertised.
Exactly right. So you guys are kind of getting back to action, and just a few days ago, maybe about a week ago, you announced that Final Battle pay-per-view is going to be happening. So it sounds like we are going to start seeing some regular Ring of Honor TV and pay-per-views getting back to normal here. How excited are you to get back in there, even if there is no crowd, to get back into action with Ring of Honor?
Like I said, I'm chomping at the bit, man. I'm super excited to show the world, you know, what I can do. It's one of those things where it's just like, just give me the opportunity and let me take the ball and let me run with it. And I see that happening very, very soon. So it's one of those things where it's like, don't blink, because you never know where I'm going to pop up. You never know. Just don't blink. You know, and they debuted me a little bit here and a little bit there, and they put the feelers out, let the fans kind of get, familiar with my face.
Mm-hmm.
But now it might be time to get people familiar with my work, and that will be coming very, very soon.
Awesome. I can't wait to see it. Well, man, I wish you absolutely the best of luck. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I can't wait to see. Obviously, like you said, it's been years since I've seen you in person, but I can't wait to see you back live on pay-per-view, back on television, back where you belong in that squared circle, and maybe the world will start turning again real soon.
Well, you know, just everybody just be safe. 100%, just be safe. You know, look out for each other. Stop all that negative stuff online, man, and just keep pushing. Just keep pushing, man. We're all in this together. There's no one special out of any of us. We're all in this whole COVID-19 thing together.
We sure
just everybody be safe. Everybody be safe. Bottom line, everybody be safe. And yeah, man, I look forward to it as well. It's kind of like a small town boy, kind of making it somewhat big. You know, I think there's 4 of us on the east. Where are we at? West Coast? Yeah, West Coast. I think there's 4 of us on the West Coast. Yeah, I was like, where are we?
Yeah.
Where am I? I think there's only 4 of us here that are contracted with Ring of Honor. You know, so it's really, really cool to watch, you know, California boys, you know, doing cool stuff. You know, a lot of those guys have been under contract for a while now, but you know, I'm pushing in. You know, I'm gonna kick that door in sooner or later. Just watch it.
All right. Well, before I let you go, do you mind if I ask for one last favor? You probably already know what I'm going to ask you for. Do you mind if I ask for a station ID?
Sure. Well, yeah, sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So the name of the website is Wrestling Epicenter, and you can put whatever spin you like on it.
Wrestling Epicenter.
Yes, sir.
All right. What's up, guys? It's the Metalhead Maniac Sledge from Ring of Honor, and you're listening to Wrestling Epicenter.
It's Vader time.
It was Vader time in 2009 when the Wrestling Epicenter welcomed Big Van Vader to our show.
Yeah, he did. He picked it ear up off the ring and carried it to the back where I believe Chuck was with it something else to do, but they never reattached it. That he has that long hair, so you don't really see it, but they never reattached the ear, so it looks pretty ugly.
This sensational interview is available in our extensive archives at interactivewrestlingradio.com and wrestlingepicenter.com.
The preceding announcement was paid for by the Wrestling Epicenter.
On to listen, and if you like what you heard, I'm glad. If you didn't like what you heard, well, go fuck yourself.
Most people done hung up on me.
We had a lovely conversation.
What a show.
Oh, mercy, Daddy.
On the radio dial. Don't hang up. Bye-bye.